Brandi Rhodes and WWE have apparently been in discussions regarding an on-screen role. Tony Khan has revealed his thoughts on Cody Rhodes' return to WWE, and an AEW versus New Japan Dream match is set for this Saturday. More on that in a little bit. Yes, hello everybody, it's Jack and Ross here with the lovely wrestling news on this fine Monday morning. I don't know why I've gone really formal there with that. First of all, let's go to Fightful, who have reported that Brandi Rhodes apparently was in productive conversations across WrestleMania weekend with WWE figures regarding an on-screen role. There weren't too many specifics, but apparently she'd been talking to several influential names on WrestleMania weekend and is also still training in ring, but it's not clear whether that'll be part of any sort of role if she does manage to get on screen.
It's an interesting one because obviously we were speaking on the Cultaholic Wrestling podcast last Friday. It's on the channel right now. It lasts 4 hours, 37 minutes and 19 seconds. Go and watch it now. It's a great time from start to finish. But we noted that there was a sort of behind the scenes thing with Cody all the way throughout WrestleMania Saturday before his match against Seth Rollins. Brandi's there and you see Brandi in the Nightmare Family jacket, and then poking through the jacket is sort of a star-spangled banner bikini thing, as if she was going to have a big part to play in Cody's entrance. Obviously, he has America pulsating through his veins and his clothes, so maybe that was her trying to get herself on the show. This seems to be a bit more concrete in terms of the company. Want to do something with her as well. I would be a bit hesitant to have her as a wrestler. I think she's way down the totem pole, or way up the totem pole, as we learned a couple of weeks ago.
Apparently
higher up is worse.
Yeah.
In terms of like sort of just quality of wrestler.
I guess so.
In the women's division, both on Raw and SmackDown and NXT, I guess. But hopefully she's not booked as badly as she was in AEW.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm alone in thinking this, but just about everything she cuts a fine promo, but what she was doing was unbearable in AEW, I thought.
Yeah, she could do it well on the mic, but the direction of it was all off.
Yeah.
It was all off.
You go from the Nightmare Collective through to the stuff with Jade, through to the stuff with Dan Lambert, as Matthew likes to call him.
Yeah.
It was all pretty bad, wasn't it?
It was, unfortunately. And I think she's good when Cody's a heel and she's managing him. She's good in that role.
Yeah.
But obviously he's a mega babyface now, so I don't know how it would really work. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
And WWE don't really do managers with baby faces with managers, do
No,
they? They'll
not really, no.
More so the other way around.
Yeah,
Who
so
knows what might happen?
We'll have to wait and see on that one. Speaking of AEW, Tony Khan spoke recently to ESPN's Mark Raimondi, but that kind of got overshadowed because of the whole thing that everyone's already talked about.
Do you mean the bots?
The bots. But he did talk about other things, non-robot related, in this interview with ESPN's Mark Raimondi, as I've said. And he talked especially about Cody Rhodes' return to WWE and what he thought of it. He was asked, was it a surprise? And he said, no, it's a binary decision. He wasn't going to be here. And based on the conversations we were having, he never outright told me, but it was obvious that that was what was happening, that he was going back to WWE. He also said, I appreciate the things that Cody and his wife, Brandi Rhodes, just to clarify.
He does this later on, a different quote.
It's really
and
good.
His wife.
Brandi Rhodes, did in AEW, and I saw Cody show up in WWE. Like I said before he showed up there, it's all still true. I still like him and wish him the best. I'm appreciative of the stuff he did in AEW. We spent hundreds and hundreds of hours together and know each other very well. I think we parted on very good terms.
He sounds heartbroken, doesn't he?
A little bit, but
Sounds like he wanted to keep him, but he couldn't do anything to stop him going. And I guess it's just... We've mentioned this. I'm sorry to go back to the podcast once again. We mentioned it again, but the whole sentiment on Twitter, like, Cody was never for this revolution. He's just used us fans, and then he's gone and left us all alone. The wrestlers, man, they go where the money is. It's obvious that WWE sent feelers out and gone, hey, we'll give you all this money. AEW obviously couldn't match that or whatever. Maybe potentially, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, and he's gone. And Tony Khan seems a bit heartbroken, which is weird when you look at the trajectory of Cody, because it was all going downhill for the longest time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
After such a strong start.
It was, but maybe he's just thinking about that strong start, and he was obviously one of the guys who he helped create the company with, so I get it to a degree.
And I guess he would have a different perspective on the business itself and how it gets booked and whatnot on the shows compared to Kenny and the Bucks.
Yeah.
That old head of Cody's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine he learned a lot from Cody in terms of booking a wrestling show,
Yeah.
and now, it's quite... I feel quite bad for him.
It's heartbreaking.
It is a little bit. He also spoke about potentially collaborating with the UFC. He said, I asked them to come to Double or Nothing weekend, which is obviously taking place in Las Vegas, where UFC holds many, many events, and said, I don't know, we'd have to see. If we could find a way to make that work, I think it would be great. I'm just excited to be out there for the week. Hopefully I can see UFC President Dana White and UFC Chief Business Officer Hunter Campbell in Vegas. It's always great to have them here in Jacksonville for UFC 273 this weekend, which, did take place place in Jacksonville. This will be the first time I've gotten to go back to Vegas since the start of the pandemic. When I'm out there, they're definitely people I look up to, and the only people I'm racing to talk to when I'm out there are Dana and Hunter. He then quite curiously says, it used to be Jon Moxley and his wife, Renee Paquette, but they moved to Cincinnati.
And his wife.
And his wife.
And his wife.
Yes.
She's nothing more than his wife.
Hopefully Tony's not insinuating that. But this is an interesting one because we've seen the inclusion of MMA fighters before with Paige Van Zandt and Dan Lambert's American Top Team. Do you think Dana White will be interested?
I've got no idea because I know absolutely nothing about UFC. All my exposure to UFC comes through professional wrestling, and so far in AEW, it's left a lot to be desired. Paige Van Zandt has proven to be a natural, I think, on the microphone and in the limited stuff she's done.
Yeah.
But apart from that, just seeing your man Jorge Masvidal.
Yes,
he was there, wasn't he?
He
just
was.
standing there looking tough. Paige's husband.
Yeah.
Whatever he's called, he just stood there looking tough.
Junior Dos Santos was all right.
Yeah.
He was in the 6-man tag match, and he was okay.
Oh, what was it, the historical lesson one?
The one about where the weapons were from.
Yeah. Whatever it was.
Vancouver or something?
Missouri?
Somewhere.
Whatever it was.
Okay.
Geography. I don't know what to make of it. They're either made for professional wrestling or not. We've seen that in WWE with the likes of Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez wasn't the best, was he, when it came to the professional wrestling?
No, unfortunately not.
Whereas Ronda Rousey's proven in her debut at WrestleMania 34 especially that she is suited maybe to professional wrestling. It's it's case by case, isn't it?
But then you've got complete amateurs like Logan Paul and Johnny Knoxville.
That's what I mean. If you've got the wrestling in your veins, or you don't.
Yeah.
Up the Logan Paul.
I'll tell you two people who have got wrestling in their veins, not Randy Orton, but similar. So this has been reported on in the past, but I've seen very little of it mentioned, so I thought it was worth a mention here, because it is a huge match, and it's taking place this week, and it's not really been hyped as much as I thought. It's at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Windy City Riot in Chicago, Illinois, on Saturday. It's billed as a special singles match, and I think it's a bit AEW versus New Japan, because it's Jon Moxley versus Will Ospreay. I did some research on cagematch.net. I think this is the first time they've ever wrestled in any match, not even in tag matches or anything.
Moxley called out Ospreay 3 weeks ago. He's like, I want to do the wrestling with you, pal. And now it looks like it's is actually finally going to happen this weekend. It's a clash of styles.
It is.
Moxley will turn up in his wedding day best, no doubt, for the fight. And it'll just be, I don't know what to say otherwise, it'll be fantastic. Because it will be.
You'd think it'll be fantastic, yeah. Other matches on the show, other big matches include Ishii versus Suzuki, which is a match we've seen before, but it is, you know what to expect, and they'll hit each other very hard. And a 6-man Chicago street fight as well, which curiously on New Japan's website has no time limit. They always put the time limits on. Singles matches, big ones, get like 60 minutes, which it never really goes that long. But this one had no time limit at all.
2 minutes, I'd give it.
Do you reckon? Yeah, fair enough. And we do have to end, unfortunately, on some serious and quite sad news as well. Various sources reported this at the same time, kind of as it happened. Reports did emerge that Japanese wrestling veteran Shinjiru Otani was seriously injured during a 0-1 event in Tokyo. He is the acting president currently of 0-1 as well. He was wrestling Takashi Sugiura and took a German suplex into the corner and then had to be stretchered from the arena. They stopped the show. They asked fans to leave. He was reportedly able to talk to medical staff, but at the last time that news came out, unable to move his extremities, which is obviously very serious news. They think it might be a spinal injury, which obviously would be devastating if it's serious. Just a bit of background on Otani. He's been wrestling for 29 years, is a former New Japan Junior Heavyweight and Tag Team Champion before leaving to join 0-1, and also in his time won the WCW Cruiserweight title when they were cross-promoting with New Japan as well. So needless to say, we wish him a full and speedy recovery, hopefully, and stay tuned for more news on his condition as it comes. So, it's a very sad and serious ending to the video, but there will be more news later on, so do check back on the channel. And thanks very much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments section down below, and we'll see you very soon.